Okay, good evening, everyone. We do have a quorum, so we can start the meeting. Um, Davida is out of town this week. Um, Ray, I'm glad that you made it because I know that um, you were en route from someplace. And Deb, okay, got your message. And I just got an email from Grace about 5 minutes ago that she is dealing with food poisoning and she will not be able to make the meeting tonight.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like,
It's painful.
yeah. And it's been
But-
going on for over 24 hours. So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
goodness.
take care of yourself and see what you
Yikes.
can do. All right. All right. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Let's go.
Sana, is that correct? Okay,
Yeah.
great. Hasana. There's a
Hi,
little,
Hasana.
it's not Hosanna, it's not Hasana, it's Hasana, correct?
Hasana. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Um, so during the public comment section, Hasana will speak about her activities. She will be a senior at E.O. Smith, correct, this year, and has submitted an application to be on the commission. Ray had made a connection with a teacher who recommended her. And then he and I met with her at the library, and we were very pleased with her enthusiasm and the tasks that she kind of has already started getting the ball rolling in regards to the school and everything. So she'll share that with you. So did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes from July 2nd?
Yes.
Anyone have any corrections? The only thing that I want to do is I would like to add making sure that Jane also attended the Pride event at the community center. So if there's no other corrections, can I have someone move to add the needed correction of Jane attending?
So move.
Jane move second,
Second.
Debbie second. All right, so are there any other corrections that we can think of or anything? All right, so then do with the corrections, do I have a motion to approve the amended minutes?
Aye.
Debbie, second. Jane, second. All right, any opposed? Was all in favor? Okay, great. All right, so Monica, thank you for adjusting the minutes. All right, regarding the agenda, does anyone have any changes
No.
needed to anything? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So move.
I'll second.
And Debbie, and then Barbara was seconds, and then all in favor. Okay, everyone's in favor. No abstentions, no nays. All right, great. Moving right along. All right. New business. We're just going to get right off the bat here. I quickly want to add that I did mention, I met with Ryan Aylesworth, who is our town manager, and Maria Capriola, I hope I pronounced that correctly. She is the chief of shared services. I quickly wanted to add that I mentioned about the Silver Sneakers program and the issue and how the community didn't really have a heads up about it. And in the future, it's recommended that the Human Rights Commission should have been informed of such things like in advance so that we can maybe discuss it and give them some recommendations or at least prepare the community for that. So I just wanted to add that I didn't just erased everything, but I made sure I made comments about that. Yes, Jane.
Thank you for doing that. And I think
Yeah.
something that I've been very aware of, especially with regard to this silver sneakers issue, is that people over 65 are a protected class. And therefore, they deserve our attention,
Mm-hmm.
like every other protected class. And this judgment that they made was completely affecting people who are over 65. So
Correct.
they need to remember that because it's not just, oh, we decided to cancel this program. This is
Right.
an act of discrimination. So thanks for doing it. I have reminded them. I know you did. I've talked to Tony and they're working on it.
And I, we'll do it periodically, but I will also make sure I put that in when we have the town council meeting for the year. I will make sure that, please remember that if there is something that is going to be either discontinued or whatever the case may be, to, put a bug in the human rights ear so that we can
I
maybe
would
either help
ask you to
them.
do that a little more formally. Please say, any action the council takes
Oh,
that
yeah.
members of a protected class should be discussed with the Human Rights Commission. Don't even be nice, be clear.
Janine, I have a
I say put a bug in the air, but when
Yeah,
it comes down to the nitty gritty, yep, right. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, I usually just kind of like blurt out the facts, blah, 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 blah.
good. I
That's
like
it.
that. I like that approach.
Yes, right. And then Barb.
when you said that, did he actually agree to that or did he just listen to you?
Actually, it was Maria
Yeah.
So
that
not
kind of
him.
was like, her eyes opened up a little bit. And I said, this was a shock to a lot of people. I said, I did not know about that. I don't pay a dues anymore to, I don't go to the community center as often, so I kind of canceled everything. But that doesn't mean, we should have known about that. This is something that affects the community. And,
Absolutely.
it could have been very easily an oversight, hey, we're just going to do this. People are still learning that everything in the community, believe it or not, is a human right. Going to the store is a human right. Driving in your car, getting to where you need, it's all human rights. So we will continue to address that, but I will make sure we put that up in the town council, the yearly meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
Barb.
Can I suggest that we put that into writing and send it to the town council? That if there's any decisions they make about a protected class of people in town needs to be gone through us.
Yeah, I like
I-
that.
I can't talk right now. I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff is going on here, but
No, I think that
Yeah.
is a good idea, and that would be an accurate thing to do. I do. I believe that would be an accurate thing, because we are too, and that's what we're going to go over a little bit about tonight, is if we see something, issues, concerns,
Mhm.
we are to advise the town council of issues or concerns, and they either make new policies or they adjust the policies. So I think that would be a good idea. So we can come up with a letter for that, just as a, like, hey, little reminder here, but being a little bit more forthcoming with that. But,
Mhm.
as I'm
I'm not
speaking
sure-
here to
I'm
be
not
like
sure,
little.
Janine. Yeah, I'm not sure, Janine. Maybe advised may not be the best word. But maybe we can just express our concern or sentiment that, speaking on behalf of the greater Mansfield residents, that we're concerned that this decision has been made.
Okay.
Maybe
Yes,
something like
Monica,
that.
and then Ray.
Yeah.
I would also look just at the charge, knowing that it doesn't say that they have to go through us. So I think you
Correct.
really
Yeah.
must be careful on the language that you're
Correct.
there. If you wanted
We-
to say just, we'd love to be here as a resource. That's,
Right.
I think, a different statement than
Right.
so.
Right. Ray, you had your hand up.
I discussed this with one of the council members and they did remind us that there is a town agenda on this. So there was public notice and this was the second vote. And also that has been discussed for 6 years, so it's not exactly, it wasn't exactly a surprise. Let's put it that way.
Okay, point noted.
I mean, I don't have
Um,
to speak because I knew about this 3 years ago when I tried to get on, so I was told.
Maybe it could have been more publicized somehow, like maybe a little bit
There's
more.
another side to that.
Yes, Jane.
I was at the community center today and I learned a lot in the therapy pool.
Mhm. I'm
I
going
was
there tomorrow.
confronted by the lifeguards who made me take another shower and told me I had to wash my hair before I could get in the pool. Or
What?
they would give, oh yeah,
Yeah, a lot of it
or
has
they
to
would
do
give
with
me a
the,
little
That's
tap
never
and they
happened
only
to
made the
me.
women do it, not the men do it. So I was
What?
sitting
Oh
there
my
with these two
God,
other
Jane, that's
ladies
never happened to
having
me.
a thought, as Winnie the Pooh would say. And what I'm noticing is that the community center is just not real good at telling the public what they're up to. It's a generic problem.
now
It's
I,
not
Oh my
this.
God.
I remember about the pool, they were going to be more strict with the shower policies. And a lot of
Yeah,
it had to do with
they
all of
grab
that
you when you
bacteria.
walk in the door and confront you, and it's poor teenage kids. I mean, I felt bad for the guys.
So how do they know if you've done that?
Bathing suits wet or not.
Oh my
Okay,
gracious. Washing your hands.
interesting.
Yikes.
I mean, it's an
I think a lot of
invasion,
it had to
and
do with
yet
the bacteria. All right, so,
they just need to be a little more gracious
Right.
and forthcoming, as Janine said.
Absolutely.
So
right,
is
so-
somebody going to write a letter to the town council saying that we would like to be informed if they're making decisions affecting, how do you say it, Jane, a protected
Members of
class?
protected classes.
Yeah, I agree.
You
Absolutely.
want to do it, Barbara?
Do I want to do it? Did you just hear me fumbling trying to figure out what to say? Who's good at I think if we write a letter, it should come up at our next meeting and we should vote on whether we send it or not.
yes, and that would be the proper protocol, that we write a letter. First, we agree on it, then we can write a letter, we present it to the whole Human Rights Commission, and then we would present it to the town. Okay? So
I'm
anyone,
willing to write the letter and bring it to the next meeting, but could
Okay.
you all please give me ideas of what should be included in it
Sure.
right now?
right,
How do we want to do this? We asked
we
for
can also do it this way, again, if there's less than 4 people, so Jane, if you and Barbara,
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
will
making a
just talk to you
suggestion,
and we'll figure it out.
Barbara and Jane can kind of like
okay.
do some of that, and if anyone wants to throw some ideas out, send it to Jane or Barbara. Will that be okay with everyone? Right?
Okay, I
good. Deb, okay.
I can get emails from people on the Human Rights Commission, but I'm not able to send any back to anybody unless I go to their individual email address. They all get returned to me saying that
That's fine. We're gonna use Jane.
okay. So Jane, if you want to meet at Dog Lane sometime, I'll buy you a coffee if you
Oh
help me.
my God, all right. How can I turn that down? Okay.
Okay,
We
so
all
we'll
should
set
go.
the next meeting. All right.
All right, we'll do
All
it.
right,
and
so
we'll do it
Jane
within a
and
couple of
Barbara,
weeks.
okay. All right, so, all right, the HRC, the beginning of the meeting that I had with Ryan and Maria was just kind of establishing a little bit what HRC, and it was more like a reminder. And it was rehashing for me as well. So the HRC was established to help educate the public about human rights and serve as an advisory body to the town council on issues. It is up to the town to take that information and make policies or change them. So it's just advising. That's all that we were doing. Or if they have a concern, and if I'm not mistaken, there was something about the Afghan refugees years ago. They inquired to us. I mean, I wasn't on the board at that time, or on the commission at that time, so I don't know, but they would do it. So it's like a back and forth thing. We don't tell them what to do, but we are an advisory type of. So in regards to my statement that human rights should not be political, and I know some people were a little concerned about this, it was meant to be taken as it should not be an us versus them, or making human rights as only one political party's ideals or aspirations. It is not just a Democrat thing. It is not a Republican thing. And as a couple of, as Ryan and Marion had said, we do know that our area, Mansfield area, is more predominant on one political affiliation, but that doesn't mean that that's what that stands for. So we have to keep that in mind. So yes, it is a political issue, but there is a fine line between how statements or actions are made. Making general statements that include emotions is not productive. When we put our emotions into it, that's when we start becoming a little bit more aggressive, and that's when people usually stop listening.
Right.
And most of us know, it's great how Jane's conversation things, how to talk without arguing and everything. That's fitting in just perfectly. So we need to keep this in mind when we have our public in our meetings. So like we do, we have someone from the public in our meeting tonight. When we present in public, we have to be careful, or have speakers on our behalf, whether it's for the Human Rights Commission or another organization or whatever. And they did bring up some examples that had occurred, not involving the HRC, but some examples that had occurred. I'll use the example when the ACLU is here and they were talking, it became very one-sided. And I noticed that there were a couple of people who got up and walked out of the building for one reason or another. In my head, I'm like, well, maybe they had to go someplace. And then the other half of me is like, I wonder if we offended somebody. And, some of us might think, well, that's too bad, but and it had nothing to do with the HRC, but when we as the HRC, we need to be careful because we need to make sure that we are for everyone and not just one political party, okay? We can't be blatant about political affiliation. And again, Ryan made an example. It was during the riots, January 6th riots. Something had happened in the town hall. There was another person, and they were stating about their, political ideas, and you can't do that. You want to talk about that on the side with someone, but it can't be during, our type of interactions when we're representing the HRC.
Is there I'm sorry, is there an example of some time when we've actually done that?
For the HRC?
Yeah.
Or, I was actually thinking about that. The only time that I ever thought about, he never brought up HRC. Nothing against HRC, but it made me stop and think. There was one time where we did have a gentleman in just observing public, and in hindsight, I knew what his party political affiliation was. I don't know his name. I do know that he ran for one of the town things.
Oh, yeah, I know who you mean.
And we were a little bit more on the aggressive side on what we were trying to accomplish. And in hindsight, I'm thinking maybe that wasn't such a good thing to present it that way, because we don't want people to think that the HRC is only going to serve, one political affiliation, or that we're only going to help one particular group. We're here to help everybody and to educate everybody. And yes, this is where that fine line of that politic, we know where it stems from and we kind of know where it can go, but we have to be very careful. We cannot be blatant with any affiliation. It would be considered making a statement not only for the HRC, but also the town. And they were trying to make sure they got that point across. So he used the example again about with the January 6th riots. That person, if that information were to have gone out, it would have, even if they said, oh, I'm just talking on my behalf, but I work for you, just right then and there made a statement, and you are kind of including the town, and you can't really do that. That also brings up to, I'll get that back. So we need to keep this in our mind when we have our public meetings, present in public. We need to continue to educate individuals about how human rights is an intrinsic part of life. We need to be here when ripple effects happen, and we know that they're happening more and more and more. We need to make sure that we are able to educate people about their human rights. Everybody, not just one particular group of people, but everybody. If you want to make a statement on your own and send to whomever, you may do so, but do not put that you are a member of the HRC. Again, that's coming back to, you're not saying you're speaking about for the HRC, but because you put that attachment of I'm a member of, you're kind of including in that. So
Right.
And that had been done in the past. That I'm speaking on my behalf, but I'm also a member of, don't do that. If you want to make a statement and be passionate about it, that's great, that's fine. But if you want to get that human rights, then state the articles from the human rights.
Right.
Pull it up, look up the articles. You know, you have a bunch of people here that we can bounce ideas off their head. Which human right article? I'll be honest with you. There was one of the recruiters at the Army office texted me and said, I have a question for you. And it had to do about a parent of one of the recruits was in jeopardy of possibly being deported. You know, can I direct them? And I'm like, I can't talk to you as a human from the HRC. I can talk to you as a person who's knowledgeable about human rights, you know, and I directed them toward that. I said,
How is that political? I'm sorry. How is, I'm not sure how that was political. Somebody being deported.
because I'm not going to go into that conversation, but you know, how that came up. I mean, it was just an issue for me. How it kind of came about was they were also talking about what's the stance of illegal immigrants in Mansfield and everything. Now, some of those questions I can kind of answer because that is posted on there. So you kind of have to be careful of how you answer the question. You can't come right out and say, well, the HRC will say, unless you talk to the HRC. But if you're giving, you know, information, and I, you know, explained that because they said, because you work in humanitarian stuff, I'm like, I don't work for I don't work, period. I'm retired right now. But the information that I have, this is where I can direct you. And I gave them a bunch of websites and information that they can look up. Ray and then Barb or Jane.
I think you made the good distinction a while back, and we're kind of slipping back from that. There's nothing wrong with being political. We can't be partisan. And I think we
Yes.
have to start using the correct language.
Okay.
Political is just the running of the government, and that is our function as citizens, as the board. It's when you get partisan, and it's a fine line.
Yep, it is.
The question I have would be, would we limit the testimony or the presentation of a person from the outside if they became partisan?
I apologize. One moment, please.
I don't think we would. I think that
hope
as
not.
long as we're not partisan, we
Right.
can't control what other people say if they come to our meetings, right?
Would you
No, we
agree?
can't control that. They want to make, because it's public, you can have your conversation.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Well, we
with- I would
can't say
agree with
one
that.
way or the other.
I would agree with that. I just want to make sure that's your position.
Right.
Thank you.
Jane.
Okay, I want to reinforce what Ray just said because I think that's a good distinction to make.
Yes.
Partisan versus political. Political simply means readjusting power relationships, and everything we do involves readjusting power relationships. But we're not on this side or that side. We're on the side of human rights. So
Correct.
that's how we do that.
Thank you.
And I have found it very helpful to go in whenever I want to talk about this. I just go and find the appropriate human right, quote it, and then say, it appears to me that this is going on. And that covers you every way because you're speaking from the document that is the foundation of what we're supposed to be doing. And
Correct.
that's what I did with the article that I just did for the town newsletter. I wanted
Yes.
to talk about education being gutted. So what I did, I went back to Thomas Jefferson, who said how important education was for democracy. Now, you can't say, don't talk about Thomas Jefferson. That's what we talk about. So I think that's a really good approach, is, find something that is valid and universally accepted,
Right.
and then base your argument on that. And I think
Right.
that will work.
Turn it-
And by the way, the process that in that piece of that training program that I sent out to everybody teaches people how to do that. So if as sooner we start teaching people how to simply describe what happened
Right.
in factual terms and then talk about how they felt about it, that the further we're going to get with this conversation, because they'll have more skill in having the conversation.
Exactly. I love that outline because when I saw that, I'm like, this is perfect because this is what we need to do. And, teaching an old dog new tricks. It can be done. It's just gonna have to take a few, few practices. Debbie,
Yeah, I'll get to that when you get
Yep.
to reports.
Deb,
Thank you, Janine. I'm just listening to all of this, and I just am wondering, and this is a question for you, Monica. And I know just because of other committees I'm on through the Mansfield committees, people people can listen to this online as we're speaking, but can people go and look at the recording of the meeting as well?
Absolutely.
yes,
Right.
it's all public
So,
record.
right. So I'm just wondering, all of our comments, I'm just wondering how people I mean, we all kind of are on the same wavelength, obviously, with human rights and what we're saying. And I'm just wondering if people, whether they agree with us or not, if they go back and look at some of our comments, I think our role is to, and this is what I'm asking, is our role to kind of be inclusionary of all different viewpoints as a Human Rights Commission of the town of Mansfield? I mean, obviously, we're perpetuating direct human rights, but sometimes our conversations, go, and I take ownership for that too, maybe a
Yep.
little bit more personal because we're all kind of peace and justice and human rights and the rights of the people
Right.
on this committee. And I don't know, as I was listening to this, for some reason,
Yeah.
that came to my mind.
And that's exactly another reason why I wanted to make sure that we kind of go over this again this evening, because I was thinking about even when we first started, and
Sure.
it was like during COVID, and then I mean, we get emotional about it because it is an emotional thing. Human rights is a very
Right.
emotional thing,
Mm.
and it strikes the heart of everyone, regardless. And so we need to be careful. And I'm not saying, we have to tippy toe, as long as we kind of keep ourselves in check and we remind ourselves and everything, but making sure that we need to include everyone. And if someone wants to watch this or comes in to just observe, what does the Human Rights Commission talk
Right.
about?
Sure.
We need to talk about Human Rights Commission stuff.
Okay.
Right.
Just a quick, that's the reason why our meetings become public record. People can go back and look at them, and if they're not happy, they can make a comment.
Right. We have to
So,
be accountable
we're not
for everything.
hiding, we're being transparent, the fact
Right.
they're not here, and, there's gonna be two sides of the coin, so no matter what issue you take, there's gonna be people that don't want, want something different, so we're gonna always offend somebody, but I think we're good.
Monica.
Just kind of going off of that, I did pull up the chart while Debbie, you were asking your question, and it does say to be transparent and open. And I think that one of the things that like Jane had, with her nonviolent communication workshop is learning how to, be more inclusive in our viewpoints and be able to talk to people who might not, have the same views as the commission might, or some members of the commission might, right?
Exactly.
So I do agree that maybe being a little bit more cautious that other people might not share the same viewpoints is a good thing, but
Right.
I also agree with what Ray's saying, and people are able to come here and make public comment if they do not like what is being said. I would be maybe a little more cautious than we had been in the past, personally, but
Thank you. Thank you,
Right.
Monica.
Thanks, Monica.
There was another question that was brought up when I was talking to Ryan and them. Answers about the town's policies. They keep in line with the state and federal rules and policies. They have their policies. I'll use the example like for like on their website, they do have information about, they do serve any and everyone, including illegal immigrants, because that is a human right. They will do that. But if something comes down the line, they will have to then go in line with the state or federal. So, I mean, they have their policies, but it's following the state policies. And if I'm not mistaken, the governor is pretty helpful with that, but if something comes and they make a stance, then the town will then follow in line with that. Okay, again, this is where we would step in with those ripple effects and be at least a resource for individuals. We don't give legal advice. We don't do any of that stuff. Yes, Jane.
We asked Margaret to please publicize the town policies about people who are approached by ICE. And she said she was going to put it up on the website and make that information about Mansfield's policies regarding ICE activities in our town. And I have not seen anything, but I also haven't been looking for it. So could you just track her down and find out if they did that? Because somebody approached me at the senior center. Apparently, there are a number of people who live in one of the senior communities who are not native-born United States people, and
Okay.
they're very worried. And so
Okay.
anything we can do to tell them, if you
Okay.
get in a situation, this is what you are entitled to do, would be helpful.
What's
I
the
remember you asking
situation
her
with,
about that.
sorry,
No, go ahead, Barb.
situation with sanctuary cities in Connecticut? I know Hartford's one, New Haven. I doubt Mansfield is one,
No,
but
it's not.
Davida had been looking into that and she had a lot of information on that. So maybe adding that to a next agenda might be a good idea.
yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Yeah.
And Jane, I am looking for that. I do know that it is on the website. I just am not exactly sure where. So let me do some digging and I can see if I can find it.
Thank you, because I mean, the people who need to know, we don't want them to have to dig, even if we put like a headline on the front page and refer them to where it is.
Right, or if it comes up in our community conversations, we want to be able to say, why don't you go to this website or click on a QR code or whatever that we can, have available and just say, here's some information for you that you may be able to refer to. All right. All right, so does anyone have any other further questions or anything like that? I can answer them. If I can't answer them, I can always contact Ryan, say, hey, I had the discussion with HRC, and these are some other questions that that have popped up. Does anyone have any other questions or comments?
Just,
If you
I was
can't-
just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just looking on my phone about Connecticut and sanctuary cities, and we do have something called the Trust Act in Connecticut, which limits cooperation with federal authorities in identifying and detaining undocumented immigrants. It's one of 12 states deemed to have policies, laws, or regulations that impede enforcement of federal immigration laws. So there is that in our state. So I'm assuming that Mansfield would go along with that.
Barbara, if you could send that to me at my email,
Oh,
In the chat, I
Yes.
just put Mansfield's policy regarding undocumented immigrants, which was from February of 2017. So you can grab that.
oh, good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Grab it.
Okay.
I think I can
Right.
do that.
Thanks, Monica. All right, so tying in with this, review and discussion of the commission charge. And again, this was also, we kind of went over it with Ryan and Maria. Our charge is to provide human rights education, be proactive in human rights efforts, make recommendations for how to address human rights violations, ensure active public participation, be transparent and open, be publicly accountable for human rights progress. So we've been talking about these and thinking about these for the past half hour. Do you think we're tackling these issues, these points?
Can you send that to us?
It's on the website. It's on Mansfield. If you go Mansfield Human Rights Commission.
I also sent it in the last email, but I can.
Okay, thank you.
Give me 1 second.
That's the commission charge. Those are the things that we are, are supposed to be doing. So, do you think that we are tackling these points?
We're trying. It's a lot there's a lot there.
Mhm. So are we prov-
I don't think we've been doing much of anything, to be honest with you. I
okay,
mean,
so
if we're advising the town, we haven't really done much of that.
well,
We've
let's
tried to
go
get-
through them real quick.
Yeah.
Providing human rights education. Are we providing
Yeah.
human rights education?
Yes, yes.
Be proactive in human rights efforts. Are we being proactive?
Give me an example of how we've done that.
I can do that. I've been meeting with people at the senior center.
Yep.
And their issue is accessibility and transportation.
Yep.
And I heard the complaints. I brought the complaints to the appropriate people, and I met with somebody again today, and I will be following up on that. And they are taking action. There's one particular woman who is in a wheelchair, and she is asking for some changes in bus routes. And so I'm following up on that with the Director of Human Services. So that's
Make
advocacy for a human right. This lady has a
Are
right.
you doing that on behalf of the commission, or
Yeah.
okay?
this is we have now 3, and I'll go over that later. We have now 3 people who are doing public education with human rights, and it's going to be Ray at the community center, Jane at the senior center, and I finally got it all set up for the library
Good.
last Thursday of every month from 4 to 6. So we're
Great.
tackling a lot of different areas, and we are doing other things as well. You know me, I always lean towards the youth, because if I reach the youth, I reach the parents, and I still am doing at the library with that as well. So are we proactive in human right efforts? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting
And
it.
also our town events, Mansfield
Yes.
Celebrates and the other event. Yeah. So we have
Exactly.
tables and
Do we make recommendations for how to address human rights violations?
No, that's something we have not yet done.
Well,
I think that's almost like a hit and miss with us. We have to know about those violations, and we do. It may look like a violation, but we may find out, like Jane, the first time that we talked about at the community center, not the community center, the senior center, and those individuals were bringing those things up. So we found out there might have been some violations, and it turned out maybe not so much a violation, or it was resolved. So we can be a little bit more proactive about that, but that means then you really need to start poking around. And I think with these communities conversations that we're going to be doing, I think it'll come up more and more. Jane,
Yeah.
if you real quick, if you could send me what the concern was that you're going to be working on. Remember,
Yep.
I want to track these so we can talk about that at the town council in the year. Yes, Ray.
I think it was this year, I'm not sure though, but we were approached by a member of the community about wanting to file a complaint for civil rights. And we did forward that person the information to either go to the town or to the CHRO. I remember doing that myself.
Okay.
So
All
it
right.
does
So we
happen.
are.
It
It-
does
it-
happen, yeah.
Right. It does happen. Maybe not as frequent as other towns. I'm going to be honest with you. If we lived in other towns, it would probably happen a lot more often. But it's also, I want to use the word microaggressions. There's a lot of things that are very subtle in town. Jane, would you agree with that? There's a lot of
If
subtle.
you want to get into microaggressions, we are, and I agree with you, and it is mostly in the schools, although it does happen. And Hassan, I want to know what you think about this.
Oh, she'll let you know.
Because I know it happens, and I've heard, what's her name who has food poisoning?
Grace.
Grace talk about it too, and I've heard
Yep.
teachers talk about it. That's so complicated.
Yep.
And I mean, you could have a microaggression that happened in a store and somebody could complain about it. Maybe we could do something with the store owner. And when they start happening in the schools, you have a layer of teachers you have to educate, you have an administration you have to convince. And it gets to be very complicated. And I've been trying to do something about it for years. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Just wait till you get to hear Asana later on. Just brilliant, lovely. So it's happening. Eventually, we'll probably have more, but it is happening. Ensuring active public participation. That I know we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, we're always doing that. Being transparent and open. This is something that we all of us need to work on. We're very open. Sometimes too transparent, but we're working on, you know, kind of like softening those edges a little bit. All right, we are who we are. We cannot change our own little personalities. That's fine. That's what makes us who we are. But we are, you know, that is something that we do need to look at. Being publicly accountable for human rights progress.
Nobody's ever defined that.
I know, right? But
That's why
I think
that's why you do the report at the end of the year.
right, and I think with keeping track of any concerns or comments or complaints or issues, I think if we can keep those records, that will just help a little bit more. So, Barb, we went through the whole commission charge. It may not seem like we're doing anything, but personally, I think we're doing a whole heck of a lot. What is that saying? You know, I'm like a duck on water. I'm calm and cool and just swimming around on the top, but underneath, I'm just paddling away.
Crazy.
You know, that's what we do. Yes, Jane.
Okay, I met with Jessica St. Louis today, who's the Director of Human Services. And it was
Yes.
a completely unrelated subject. But in the meanwhile, she told me that they've got a little truck, panel van, and they have identified places where Muslim families live in town. And one of them is Clubhouse Apartments. There are about 6 Muslim families who live out there, don't have a lot of transportation, and
Right.
take their truck out there, I think once a week, with halal food. I don't know where they
Yes.
get it.
Oh, I know the halal places.
Fresh vegetables from the garden, things for the kids to do, snacks for the kids. And she is doing that in particular for these Muslim families because they have trouble getting halal meat. But she is, I mean, she's doing amazing things to go out and tell people and feeding people.
I'm
And we're not doing
I'm-
it, but it's being done by her.
I am surprised that I tried to make contact last year and we did. And we had her on our meeting and I
Right,
think
I
we kind
remember.
of drifted. So I will spark up again because that is a human right.
And she is doing a lot of human rights work. And my conversation with her was just personal, but I found out a tremendous amount of work she's doing that's just wonderful.
All right, I'm going to make contact again with her because we can help with that. I mean, we should be helping with that. That's part of
Yeah,
our thing
especially I
is
think with
collaborating.
publicity.
All right, so St. Louis. Wow. Okay. All right, so on to the next. Shall we go on to the next thing? Town newsletter article. If you haven't already, please look at the town newsletter. Jane did submit a very good article about education and how education overall is an essential human right that is being challenged recently in many, many, many ways. She also gave credit to Mansfield School's curriculum. The curriculum is good, I'll admit. Execution of some of that curriculum, maybe not so much.
All right.
That's in the process and that's in the works. All right. That also has to do with staffing. And I know that's been an issue right there, getting people on board. Several years ago when I was still in the system, that I know that was one of the things where even when they would interview, they would ask certain questions and that would stop sometimes the people from continuing their own interview, or they would complete the interview and then they would go, not the interviewers, but people who are applying, they would start posting stuff online on their on Facebook. And that kind of like stopped them from being hired. So that is a work in progress, right? So the next town newsletter is, I think it's the October-November issue. They do like insight into the town's happenings. All right, I'm just putting that out there. I was reminded about that. But we can use that to educate about human rights with a little creativity. Like Jane, for the August, September, you know, we're beginning the school year, education. So, you know, we're able to do that. what do you think that we can tackle this time for a newsletter for October, November? And who would like to write that letter? Yes, Jane.
I think what we ought to tackle is the fact that November is a time of celebrating holidays for dozens of different faith traditions and basically commends the solstice. And say something about, I mean, Mansfield can't get over the fact that Christmas is a Christian holiday, and I know I shouldn't have said that, but I would like to see an article, since it's going to come out in November, about the many holidays that are celebrated during that period
Of course.
and the need to honor and give visibility to all of those so that everybody feels like their tradition is
Mm.
welcome and respected. That's what I like to see.
Mm-hmm. I agree, Jane.
That's my contribution.
Yeah.
I am open to having somebody tell me they disagree with me.
Any takers?
Absolutely agree.
Are you agreeing to
Right.
write the article?
Who wants to write? This is 150 words. It's really not going to be hard.
It's not, it won't be difficult. I
Get the
believe
list
me.
of all the holidays if you want the list from the Mansfield school system. They have them. They have a calendar. It's not hard to get that. So who wants to write 150 words about the sanctity of the end of the year and the solstice, something to that effect? Oh, Hassan, are you volunteering? Don't move. No, you're not.
She's not a member yet. You can't do that to her yet.
Yeah.
I can believe it, but I've gotten really outrageous lately, so you're just gonna have to excuse me. I apologize. Well, I mean, I'll do it if nobody else wants to do it, but I think it would be better if somebody else did it.
I
Well,
don't,
Jane, why don't you and I do it together?
Okay, your name first.
great, because I'm like, that's up my alley, but I'm
Is- No,
always
it's
doing
up Deb's
something
alley
like that.
perfectly. And it really, Deb, it's only 150 words. You can do this.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Because
Okay.
there is so much with this. I mean, you can go into, I can go into the history aspect of, Saturnalia and everything like that, because it's
Wow.
all kind of like, it all
That's
kind of
not a
like
good
combines
one.
and everything. But if you look at the main point, when I used to do the help out with the morning announcements, it really boils
Right.
down to,
Right.
light and darkness.
That's right.
Mhm.
All holidays. If you look at it, light and darkness.
That's what everybody has.
So do we have a
And-
motion?
Okay, all right, great. So we got Deb and Jane.
Mhm.
Yay.
Do we have a motion? Do we
Okay,
need a motion?
it'll probably be due like around, I don't know, September 22nd or something. It's usually that like almost 2 weeks, week and a half before October. So I'm assuming like around the 20th or something of September.
Yeah.
As the time gets
Mhm,
closer, we
that's
can
fine.
ask Margaret about that, or Monica, if you have that when
I
that
don't
comes
have it
out.
off the top of my head, but I do believe it is in September,
Yeah.
close to mid-September, I think it is. But do we also have a motion that this is what we want to do and who's going to be writing it?
I'm sorry.
Somebody has to move.
That this is the article that you want to write and that Debbie and Jane are going to write it.
Okay, so can I have would be a
So-
motion?
So move.
Ray moves. Second?
Well, I'll second it, but it
Second.
seems like we're just
You have to say what you're moving, Ray. You can't just say, give it a name.
Well, so moved. I so moved that we do the article for around the
Deb and Jane to
solstice,
do the
and that
article.
Jane and Debbie are going to be the co-authors.
Okay. And second was Barb.
No.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, great. So moved that Jane and Deb will be doing the October, November town newsletter article in regards to about the holidays and traditions in our area.
Mhm.
You can throw in there, don't forget about how it relates to human rights.
Right.
And it is a human right to,
Freedom of religion is one of the basics.
right, you know, it's your culture, you're learning about other individuals, that sort of, you know, go through the whole thing. All right. You can send it to me and to Monica. We'll look at it, and then you send it to Margaret, and it has to be in a Word doc. Okay. All right. So next on website feature for September. If you haven't had a chance to look at the HRC website, and even Monica was talking about it, it is under new construction. There's things popping up and everything. So we're in the process of that.
Do we need to
What
take
I
a
had-
vote on that? Do we need to take a vote on that?
On what?
That we're gonna write the letter?
You mean the article?
I thought we
The
had
article?
the article. don't
Yeah,
think
I
we
didn't
can
see a vote either.
Vote.
My
have to
apologies.
vote For the record, yeah.
My apologies. So all in favor of Deb and Jane writing the news article for October, November?
Debbie,
Sorry, Debbie and Jane.
It's like
Ray.
Christmas.
First, all in favor? Deb. I didn't even ask for a second. My bad. I got really thrown off on that one.
That's okay.
I seconded
We all
it.
agree.
Yeah,
Now
Barbara
we're
seconded
voting
it. We're good.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
So website feature for September.
Would,
Yes.
would you like me to try and share the screen so people can see what it might be looking like?
Yeah.
that'd be
If you could do
great.
that, that'll be great.
Let me see. Okay. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
nice.
So it has changed a little bit. We do have our community conversations over here. This is what is going to be in the newsletter for the community center. So this is about Ray's community conversation.
It is. I saw that. I saw it in
Came
the
today.
pamphlet. Yep.
Yep. And then we do have also the community conversations, the community center, and those times and dates down a little bit farther. And once we get the dates for the library and Jane, you're at the senior center, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we get those dates, I'll update that too. We also have this month in human rights, which is going to be a clickable link, which will bring us to the August ones, which is all set to go. I just gotta upload it. And then we'll do our September one in there too.
That's
can see
nice. I like that
there's
you put that in there.
Good.
Little
Good. No
here.
more pictures of me.
I'll tell Margaret. She had all the photos. I didn't.
Yeah. Let's get that out.
But we do have some we're adding over here to our little links.
Yep. Awesome. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Then let me see, there's one more thing. Oh, all of your member bios have been updated.
Oh, great.
Yay.
So they're all here. We should be good to go. So Margaret did a lot of work on this. I admittedly have tried and failed a few things, but we're still getting there.
No, you did not fail. You found other ways not to do it. That's
Thank
all.
you. Exactly.
It's all about words.
Mhm.
That is awesome.
That's nice. That looks really good, Monica.
Great. So what she was talking about, that little link on the bottom there, this month's, feature, whatever.
Mhm.
What I had done for August was I chose to spotlight the month's awareness of wellness. This is a wellness awareness month, and wellness isn't just, physical, it's mental, it's social, it's psychological, it's physical, everything. And that is a basic human right, to being able to be healthy, to be able to have access to that. The other one I did was Black businesses. I'm not sure if that's going to be able to be put up or not, but this is also Black Business Awareness Month. And without human rights and civil rights and everything, those opportunities would not have been available. So to go out there and make sure that we can even support. I tried looking up some Black businesses in the area, and there's not a whole lot in Mansfield area. I know there's more with Willimantic and everything. And you can pull up businesses that you can go ahead to and help support. But that's something that I wanted to interactive, click on, you go to the Human Rights Commission website. Oh, what's this month's feature? And then, pull it up and take a look at it. So we had discussed this last time, putting this up on there, and we were in agreement. So I'm like, yeah, we need to put this up there. Would anyone like to do September? It doesn't have to be a huge thing, just a couple of sentences. You put what you're targeting, a few words, human right impact, include a pic. Margaret's always good on wanting a picture. I can help you with it. And then again, when you're ready, you submit it to Monica.
Why don't we do the town of Mansfield, welcome to Mansfield thing from last year and put that up there? There's loads of pictures. Say the mission.
Mhm.
The,
That
this
block, that
holiday is going to be this event is going to be celebrated on September 27th, and here's a couple of pictures. And that's all done. Nobody would have to do that extra.
I
that's
move
already on the
to
side.
go with Jane's idea. Oh.
That's already on the side. That's already on the
That's
side
already
of
up
the
there?
town of
Okay.
Mansfield. I don't have a problem doing that. But what I will do then is talk to everyone about for like next month is this type of awareness. What do you think? I don't even have the notes. I know October is like, for some reason, I didn't look up September. All right. I'll go ahead and do September. October is, I have my little go-to websites. EI observances, human rights observances, heritage observances. I go through all of them and I take a look at all different ones. Like October awareness ideas, there's Heritage Month, Indigenous people, global diversity. October 10th is actually World Inclusion Day. You also have a lot of holidays that are going in there. Like Diwali, Yom Kippur, Samhain, all those sorts of things. That's October. I can look for September. I'll just go ahead and I'll look for September. I'll look for some of those other ones, and then we can talk about then for October, what we can put up for October. All right. It's just bringing more awareness to people, educating about things, or making them think of things that they never really thought of, like, they think of wellness, but they're not thinking about wellness for another individual. Wellness of another individual could be environmental effects. And if you look down in like Southern Connecticut, there is a disproportionate more towards individuals of color that are affected by the environment because they have limited access to healthcare for one reason or another. Okay, that's going more and more and more and more into it, but it's a wellness thing. All right, so like I said, I'll go ahead and I'll do September, and then we'll talk about October next month.
Janine, I just want to remind you that I have to leave now
Yep.
because I have some kind of dire church conversations with people. So,
Go right ahead.
yeah, so I just want to say two things. Hassana, I'm so sorry that I'm not going to be able to meet you, but maybe people can give you my email, and I'd love to hear from you and get to know you. And thank you for being with us for this evening. And Indigenous Peoples Day, I have an email out to and I would know tomorrow or the next day to the head tribe. So I'll get a lot of information, but rather than wait till the next meeting, if it's okay, I'll just send everyone an email of what I learn, and so that we can kind of talk about that maybe over email before we meet, next month. if
That
that's
would be great,
okay.
because that would be the next thing to come on
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
having difficulty trying to get in contact with the people
Yeah,
I've done
yeah.
that.
No, her name is Beth. She's like the head tribal leader, and I
Okay.
have a personal connection with her. So she's getting back to me. So I'll
Brilliant.
let everyone know the
Awesome.
next day or two.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks,
And if
Deb.
there's anything else, and then Jane, you and I will talk about what we're doing together, and we'll
Yep,
go.
just
from
let me
there.
know when you have time. I'm
I
more
will.
flexible than you are, so anytime.
Of course, Jane. Yep, I'll email you tomorrow for sure.
Okay, good.
Together for that. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
See you soon. Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, so Jane, community conversations, can you go over your draft for what you are proposing?
Yeah. I think these community conversations are going to be teaching things, not just the open, come here and tell us what you think.
Right, this is
So-
your disagree without fighting?
Yeah, I'm struggling with the scheduling. I haven't told you, I'm having surgery on my knee on November 3rd, and I'm going to be out of
Right.
commission for a while. But what I did here was I outlined a workshop that I can do off the top of my head, and I can teach most other people how to do. But we would need to get together in person to practice it. So I guess we would have to declare that a special meeting for anybody who wants to be a facilitator. And the other thing that I did was I made this up, but the nonviolent communications people have some cards that they use as discussion prompts. And I got online last night and bought the set of cards, which will simplify this process considerably. So what I've just done is I want anybody, I think I'm not pushing this real hard, but everybody just take a look at this. Think about whether or not you could run a conversation that basically follows that format with 5 or 10 people. And I think we ought to do it 2 at a time. And then when we have a couple of people who say, yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot, then we'll have a special meeting. We'll practice it, see how it works, and go from there. And I think that's what I'd like to do.
I think this is a great even continuation from last year.
And well, that's exactly what it's supposed to be. So I'm glad. But I think I'd like to try doing one in October
Okay,
for the election. So anybody who's interested can come and try to figure out how you have these conversations.
I'm interested. I went to the thing last year, so.
right.
Okay, well, we're
And
going
I
to get
remember
together anyhow,
Deb-
Barbara, so we'll talk about it and we'll talk
Okay.
about and we'll just take care of it that way. Okay,
And I
good.
remember Deb had mentioned even last
Deb
meeting
said
that
she
she was
could do it,
interested
so.
in that. And I would love to help with this.
Okay, well, we're just kind of, once you decide to have an operation, you have to have 15 dozen other doctor's appointments to make sure you're not going to die. And so I'm in that phase right now. And I
Been
am,
there, done that.
the doctor told me I was in good shape, but that's good shape parenthetically for an old lady. So,
There was 1 year I had 3 surgeries in 1 year, so
yeah.
totally
That's what I'm
totally
doing.
understand it, get it.
Barbara and I will talk about it, and then we will reach out to other people who are interested. And Hassani, you could be like an intern because this would be really cool stuff to learn.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
Thank
In
you.
action.
So I've sent this to everybody. Hassana, when I get your email, I'll send it to you too. This is basically my lesson plan for this conversation. And then you can just take a look at it, see what you think of it. Okay.
Right.
That's
So that's another part of our community conversations that we'll be doing, Asana. The other one is that Jane goes to the senior center the first Wednesday of the month at 1
yeah, I go to
p.m.
the senior center the same day we have this meeting, and
Right.
I need somebody to stand in for me, not in September, but in October.
And that's the other thing.
So if somebody would
When we
show
have
up
our
at-
meetings, it's Ray also has his at the community center, but his are on 2 different dates, and then I will have mine the last Thursday of the month. If there is any time that someone is not able to do their what this is talking to the community. They are able to come up, we can talk about human rights, they can talk about the concerns, talk about, you know, how you doing here in Mansfield, you know, or because sometimes you get people who are from Ashford that come to our facilities, you know, like, oh, if you're not from Mansfield, where are you from? You know, how are you doing there? Yes, Ray, your hand was up.
I just said I'll cover Jane in October.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
no worries. We will, and we can cover
And don't
each
be
one.
surprised if nobody shows up, but I have a little sign I put up on the table so people know where to go. And somebody showed up today and I forgot to go and I had to run up there. So I think people are aware that this is going on now. And it was
I-
it's the lady with the transportation problem.
And I think as we do more and more and word gets out, we might
Yeah.
have a few times that there was a lot, and then, you know, this whatever. So that's going to be posted on the website as well, all of our little meetings and everything. Don't forget, if you have any concerns that are related, if you can shoot me an email, and then I can put that on that little spreadsheet that I have, my little Excel sheet, and then I actually have a tickler system, you know, what's being done, the follow-up on what date, who'd you talk to, blah, 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 blah. And any member is welcome to go and sit and either support us or just, you know, and don't forget to use the slides if we have. Hasana, we made up a little slideshow explaining a little bit about human rights and everything. So, you know, if we need to use that, we use that as well. Indigenous Peoples Day, as Deb had said, you know, we're trying to come up with something to acknowledge this population in our area. And I'll tell you what, it has not been easy trying to get linked up with people. I did find out by looking at different websites that the Pequot Museum in the month of October, they're doing like a fundraising type of thing. So they're pretty busy. Anyone can go to this, but it was really interesting. And then that kind of led me to another website, and I think I sent that to everybody about August 22nd through the 24th. They're having their event as well. I guess the old term would be like a powwow, right? Just using that term for the sake of it.
That's what it is.
Right. It
Yeah,
is.
illegal-
It's if you've never been to one, it's amazing. You know, some people are like, oh, it's just another. No, because it is so culturally centered. It's beautiful. I used to do a lot in Florida when I was the liaison. Some of my clients that I worked with were, you know, the lead drummer or the head drummer or one of the chiefs. It's beautiful. If you should just go. What we're trying to do is at least somehow, some way, have acknowledgement. We wanted to have someone come here to Mansfield and then make it open to the public, whether it be a display or something like that, because people need to know, people should know it is a cultural experience, and other people can't maybe go to these museums. So let's bring some of that to Mansfield. I tried making contact with PTO. They're not meeting again until September, and in my head, that's a little bit too late. So I'm going to be on their case beginning of this year for next year. We got to jump on that. Celebrate Mansfield. Everyone remembers September 27th from 2 to 8. We're only there from 2 to 6. Setup is an hour beforehand. We do have another meeting before that event, so keep in the back of your head if you may or may not be able to attend. Hopefully I'll be able to attend. I'll know more by the end of this month. I do not know when Ravine graduates. I don't know. It depends. Sabrina isn't here still. Any word on Sabrina? All right. And Davida, I can't do that. All right. Just taking a look at my notes real quick. Yes, the HRC info was in the Parks and Recreation flyer. I saw that,
Yeah, it
the
was
emblem and
good.
everything. I
I
was
was
like,
so pleased to see that.
yay! We made the community newspaper. Yes, Ray.
I just want to say that the community center was really cooperative with me, and if we having problems with the community center, I have some people I can talk to. You know, I've got my in now in E.O. Smith, and I think I have an in on the community center, so if we want to make some, momentum in certain directions, I think I can
Ray,
be helpful.
Ray, my experience with the community center is they are just one big bureaucracy, which is like overkill. You got to fill out a form, you got to give them 2 weeks notice. And you can argue with them and then you still have to fill out the form and give them 2 weeks notice. So they're very welcoming once you submit to their demands.
Once
But
you
they're not
get your
open,
foot in the door.
I'm
they're
not a
not open
submitter.
to dialogue about more flexible arrangements. That's my experience with them.
I don't submit very often, so.
I know you don't. That's why I warned you.
All right, I've also made contact with what is it, the food service, head of food service for the public schools, Mariah Popolesky,
Mhm.
because Peter Dart had made a recommendation that maybe because they are trying to be a little bit more culturally diverse with their food, maybe
Nice.
we can kind of collab on something. So I've started making contact with her. I'm in the process of emailing with her. I also wanted to share real quick, this is what happens when you start clicking on links and you go down rabbit holes. I clicked on a link called Woven Teaching, and it has to do with human rights. And because I said, yes, I do human rights stuff. I'm not necessarily a teacher, but I help teach about human rights. You start getting free stuff.
Really?
This one says human rights are for everyone, a guide to teaching for positive change. Human rights around the world.
What's the name of this website?
Woven Teaching.
.com?
I just pull up Woven Teaching and you'll come up, and defending democracy. Movement is a human right. I even got a poster. Inside Outside Mass Incarceration in the United States. Uncovering Misinformation, and Workers' Rights and the Match Women of London's East End. So a little bit of history.
You should
So-
bring
and
all
there's-
that to the Celebrate Mansfield to our table. Are we having a table there? Celebrate.
Yes, that's already done. It's already scheduled. Everything's applied. But these are like lesson plans. These are lesson plans. I was like, this is pretty cool. So I have information. We can, so I've been busy going down rabbit holes. And continuing making contact, reestablishing the connection with Candace Morel, who is the new superintendent, to start making sure that we can keep our foot in the door with the schools. So I've been busy with that. Yes, Ray.
I just would like to get to Hazana before too long.
Yep, we're going
I
to
don't
do
know
her
anything.
report next. So introducing Hassana Davis. Hassana, I'd like for you to go ahead and that it was like 10 minutes that you talked to Ray and us, or Ray and me, about what you had done, what you had seen, where you're from.
Okay. I'm from Columbia. I have been going to E.O. Smith for this is my third year now, and I'm finishing high school there. I am very involved in my community in not only Columbia, but also at school. For the last year, I want to touch a little bit on what Jane just talked about a couple ago on the microaggressions and how it gets sort of difficult when you're dealing with that in a academic or school setting. I did say a workshop / a presentation on microaggressions a couple of months ago at my school.
Really?
And I think E.O. Smith, at least, is trying very hard and putting a lot of effort into addressing those sort of things. But I don't think the people outside of E.O. Smith who also have to deal with this, say like the Board of Ed, aren't entirely receptive as maybe they could be. But anyways, for the last year, I have been working closely with my principal, a couple of other students, and other staff members to address academic inequity and class inequity. What we did was this takes a lot of context, so it's a little hard to explain. But because E.O. Smith is a regional school, people come from middle schools with different levels of preparedness, which affects their ability to take certain classes and exercise certain opportunities that, say, their peer from Mansfield would have the full ability to because of their differences in educational backgrounds. So I, a leader as the Equity Council, decided to administer a survey school-wide in order to capture both qualitative and quantitative data points so that we know what kids are thinking and seeing in classrooms rather than what the numbers just say. Like how many kids from Ashford are in this type of AP class, how many kids from Columbia are in this type of AP class, and so on. The data that I collected shows the same thing as the numbers on paper, which what we expected. We just wanted to hear a student voice. And from there, I got the opportunity to present at a professional development day and ask for solutions, suggestions on how do we fix academic inequity in the classroom, and how does it affect not only students, but also teachers, which is, I feel like teachers can sometimes be a little bit maybe neglected on that end. But from there, I have been meeting with another group of students who are interested in the same topic, my principal and the same staff over the summer. And we have been invited to do, or possibly do, a little bit of curriculum work for our incoming 9th graders so that we can sort of decrease how much that's happening, because I can't go into the Ashford middle school system and say, hey, you guys need more funding so that you can provide more resources, which helps your students more at the high school level. We're trying to help the incoming 9th graders get on to the same foot as their Mansfield peers, which means acting as mentors, providing materials, and sort of being that, I guess, hotspot or homeroom where we can help our peers as much as possible and sort of that academic transition from middle school to high school. And a lot of the kids coming from, say, towns like mine, Columbia, often gave the same response to, I feel like I might not have the same opportunities as my Mansfield peers. I feel like my Mansfield peers are ahead of me, or I feel behind because they took the advanced classes in middle school. There's a lot going on, but that's what I've been working on in terms of the last year with the people around me. We've also worked a lot on cultural diversity clubs and making sure those are accessible by all students. And we've also been sort of talking about public transportation. So I understand a lot when you guys are talking about public transportation on the senior end, because we're also dealing with that at E.O. Smith.
Yes, Ray. Unmute. There you go.
As you can tell from just a few minutes of listening to her talk, she's a super good candidate. I do want to remind you, because this is something we talked about when we were doing interviews that Hassan is going to be representing not E.O. Smith alone, but women of color of her age. So, she's going to be addressing any and all issues. It's not just, I don't want her to just be looked at as like an E.O. Smith liaison, because that's not
Right.
her role.
I do need to, I'm having a difficulty with the device I'm on. I'm gonna join on my mobile phone. And then we can keep talking. Is that
Do you have
okay?
any more to say, or because we're almost done?
Okay. I think that's about it in term like E.O. Smith. Is there any questions or anything else that I talked about the last time that we met that I should touch on now?
No, just you are not originally from this area. You are from down Florida,
Yes, I'm
Florida.
I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
Right. And
I
the story that stuck out with me was that when you were at charter schools up until a certain point, and then you went to your first public school when you were how old?
I was 15.
15. And they were introducing like, oh, and this is the library, and it floored me because it floored you. She's like, oh, there's libraries in this school. So it was fascinating. I mean, it blew my mind because we take that for granted. We do, and human rights, you should have access to all of this. So again, I mean, Hasana, I think you are an amazing person. I truly do. And you are an inspiration, just when you start feel like, oh man, I don't really want to do this. I listen to her, or I think about her. And Jane, I immediately thought of Jane when you started talking about qualitative and quantitative data. I'm like, that's Jane. Give me the data. I think this is amazing, and I hope that application, I know you submitted it, and I hope everything goes through. And I know Monica will be in contact and everything.
Do we need
Yes.
to take a vote and say that Hasana's, we are happy to have her and we support her application?
Yes.
We can't take a vote because we don't have a quorum.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
you do have a quorum, but no, we can't, it's not a vote, because what's gonna happen is, Hasana, as long as you're still, interested, Janine will send an email to, myself and my boss, and she'll get you on the, committee on committees list to interview.
That would be, yes, definitely 100%.
If we lost her.
Okay, very good. So Janine, if you could send that email, we'll move it right along.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So, anyone else have anything to add?
I think we're good.
I'll be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to the beginning part of this meeting because I was just like, we got to go through this stuff. But I think we kind of clarified a lot of stuff, and I think we can kind of help ourselves refocus on some things. But I think we're all moving in the right direction, especially with more and more things that we're doing and accomplishing. So with that being said, our next meeting is August.
No,
September
August,
3rd.
September. Thank you. I'm like, wait a minute, we're still in August. September 3rd at 7 p.m. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Can I
Make
make
a
one
motion.
more comment?
That's
I loved what I saw in the community center bulletin with the ad and the logo and everything standing out. But I'm really concerned, we need to get publicity and tell people this is happening, here's where it's happening, here's when it's happening. And I think that should be separate from that bulletin. So I encourage you to do that. Talk to Margaret about it, talk
Yeah, I
to.
think because we needed to finalize all those dates, and I did, I finalized the library dates, so
Good.
I will again send another email
We
just
just need to
reminding
tell
her.
everybody. And now I will second your
get that.
motion to adjourn.
All right, so can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Barbara motions, second,
Second.
Jane and Ray. All right, so all in favor?
Monica wants to stay, I think.
Monica, thank you for humoring us and me. All right, everyone,
Thanks,
stay
everyone.
safe with this air quality alert.
Yeah.
And take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.